Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now, in previous situations like this, I'd probably title the video something along the lines of Donald Trump just won the nomination, or Trump's re-election confirmed or secured. And that's because every single time they go after him, they turn him into a martyr and he becomes more popular. You'd think they'd learn, but they never do, so they keep going after him, thinking this time it's gonna be different. This time we're gonna take him down. Well, in New York, it backfired big, and now it's backfiring spectacularly. To my shock, people are leaping to Donald Trump's defense from the most unexpected of places. The most unexpected individuals are speaking up in favor of Donald Trump against this bogus indictment. Let me show you guys what's going on as the Democrats' plan is backfiring big time. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I'm sure you guys know what's going on, but let's just fill in the context. So Donald Trump has claimed that he received a phone call which informed him that in the coming days he's going to be indicted by Joe Biden's DOJ.
Another indictment, you've heard about this, of former President Donald Trump, this one for his alleged mishandling of classified documents. His lawyer told CNN he faces multiple felony charges, including a violation of the Espionage Act, along with obstruction of justice, conspiracy, and making false statements. Now, in a surprising move, Trump was first to reveal the indictment on his social media account. It follows a months-long investigation by a special counsel, and it is the first time that a former president has ever faced federal charges. Trump also faces 34 state-level felony charges in a separate issue, and other investigations are still going on.
Facing multiple charges, including a violation of the Espionage Act. This indictment, these charges are a complete joke. I know Chris Christie wants you to believe that Donald Trump is guilty, but we know that it's complete bull. Donald Trump is supposedly being indicted on the Espionage Act for keeping in his possession a supposed top-secret document related to Iran. But I have a hard time understanding how that violates the Espionage Act. From what I understand, presidents, after their time in office, keep their security clearance. From what I understand, the president has the absolute authority to declassify documents at will. From what I understand, even as Trump mentioned during the CNN town hall,
the Presidential Records Act is not criminal. I took the documents, I'm allowed to.
The Presidential Records Act protects him. What is the Presidential Records Act, you might ask? Under the Presidential Records Act, incumbent presidents have exclusive responsibility for the custody and management of the presidential records of their administration while in office. The National Archives and Records Administration has no former role in how incumbent presidents manage their records, except when the president proposes to dispose of records. Instead, NARA provides guidance and counsel to incumbent presidents and their designated officials upon request. So the issue here is that NARA said, give us the files back, and Trump said, no, these are my documents, I declassified them, they're staying in my possession. And then Biden's DOJ saw that as an opportunity to go after Donald Trump with trumped-up criminal charges and claim that he's committing espionage, a patently absurd abuse of power, especially considering Joe Biden has actually illegally kept classified documents in his possession since his time as a senator in the 1970s, and of course the whole Clinton email scandal, which James Comey said this:
although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. Prosecutors necessarily weigh a number of factors before deciding whether to bring charges. There are obvious considerations like the strength of the evidence, especially regarding intent. Responsible decisions also consider the context of a person's actions and how similar situations have been handled in the past.
Prosecutorial discretion. We have to take into account intent. Hillary Clinton had absolutely no right to keep those documents, neither did Joe Biden, but we have to apply prosecutorial discretion. They didn't have any bad intention. Donald Trump, a former president with a security clearance, keeping the documents safe and sealed with Secret Service protection round the clock. Donald Trump, who has absolute power to declassify those documents, claimed that he declassified them, but he's a criminal, he's a spy, and he should be charged to the fullest extent of the law. They're charging him with a whole lot of different stuff, essentially throwing it at the wall, hoping something's gonna stick. It's gonna backfire, folks, and it's gonna backfire big. In fact, it already is in terms of optics. I had to lay the context there, of course. People who are tuned in here, even leftists, don't view this indictment as serious. Here's a segment on News Nation with Stephen A. Smith and Chris Cuomo, two Democrats who you wouldn't expect to come to Donald Trump's defense, saying this.
Biden wasn't that popular of a candidate, at least before the primaries in South Carolina. You know, up until that point, he wasn't even in the game as far as a lot of people were concerned. And so because of that, when you look at it from that perspective, Chris, what it comes down to is you're going to have people sitting up there on his side and saying they can't beat him legitimately, and it's going to add it's going to add momentum to his argument that they're exhausting themselves with doing everything they can to prevent him from being the Republican nominee because they can't beat him. Yeah. That's what they're going to say.
Well, that's his case.
Here's Chris Cuomo and Matt Taibbi, two Democrats, slamming the Trump indictment, calling it reminiscent of a third world country.
The charge has to meet two tests. It has to be extremely serious and it has to be an airtight case. And I think both of these cases fail on both of those points.
Yeah, you know, a buddy of mine who's a very smart guy and a lawyer, but, you know, just a kind of consumer of all things relevant like yourself. He was like, hey, I don't care that it's during the election. The fact that you're running shouldn't shield you. Maybe he's running because he knows it's his best defense on these things. Maybe, but I think that to the majority, the optics are terrible. If you're swinging at somebody during an election and you don't have what we deem the goods. Now, what does that look like in this case? Do you think it comes down to, well, what are the documents he was keeping?
Well, again, I mean, I think if you are a person who grew up in a third world country, you would recognize this kind of thing as something that happens in a not entirely free society. So that's, the optics of this are terrible. I mean, there's no way around it.
Obviously, people view this as fundamentally corrupt and unserious. And apparently Donald Trump's not taking it too seriously either. Here he is playing a round of golf in Bedminster, New Jersey, after learning about his inevitable indictment.
Video just in showing him golfing at his club in New Jersey. He is listed as a criminal defendant in that indictment, which has not yet been unsealed. He is charged with at least 7 counts. Trump is claiming election interference and calls the Biden administration the most corrupt in history.
Oh, shiver me timbers. Trump is absolutely petrified. I don't think he is, and I don't think he should be, because this whole thing is a sham. It's yet again a partisan witch hunt. And these partisan leftoids show their hand in the way that they react to news dropping. We now have news that the Trump documents case has been handed to a federal judge in Florida that Trump appointed. Trump scores lucky break as his favorite judge gets assigned the indictment case in Florida. And what are leftoids doing? They're throwing a damn tantrum on Twitter. It's unfair. They want the judge removed from the case because, of course, just like in New York, they want a partisan Democrat whose entire family donates to Democrat causes to take the case. I mean, what's the difference? It's the first time. It's uncharted territory. We've never seen the legal system weaponized to go after a former president. So there's only two options. Either it's an Obama judge, either it's a left-wing judge or a Republican judge. From their perspective, it's only fair if Donald Trump faces charges in front of a partisan, vindictive Democrat judge overseeing the case. Completely ridiculous. Clearly what they want is for Donald Trump to get railroaded legally. These people are despicable. And speaking of despicable, Hillary Clinton is now gloating over Trump's indictment, releasing this, bringing this back in light of recent news. Get a limited edition But Her Emails hat and support Onward Together groups working to strengthen our democracy. Here's Hillary Clinton gloating and trying to make money on the news of Trump's indictment. She thinks this is funny, even though James Comey literally admitted that she committed multiple felonies in her mishandling of classified information. Here's paid Democrat shill Harry Sisson, Gen Z TikTok clown, posting this picture and writing, "You know who's never been indicted?" Yeah, this tweet doesn't send the message that you think it does. You are essentially celebrating a corrupt justice system that is persecuting a Republican candidate while purposely ignoring the actual legitimate crimes of your Democrat Party leaders. Thanks for reminding us that the system is totally rigged. Holy moly, these people are unbelievable. They're sending a very clear message that they don't care about the law. They don't care about prosecutorial misconduct. They don't care about the weaponization of the justice system. It can be as corrupt as it wants as long as it goes after their political opponents. It's just disgusting. And we're not the only ones who see it. I'm telling you, regular people see it. People are seeing the Democrats and Hillary Clinton gloat about the Trump indictment after Hillary Clinton mishandled classified documents. Joe Biden, the same thing. No security clearance, not as a former president, but but as a former vice president, a former senator, and secretary of state, obviously people are smart enough to see what's really going on here, even Democrats and especially independents and Republicans, and it's going to backfire and backfire big. I'm also now hearing legal scholars predict that Donald Trump is going to run on pardoning himself. They're turning him into a martyr. It's man versus machine, and I just hope it backfires in absolute spectacular fashion. It's honestly the only way to make things right. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.